Let me take it back to 1990. I was 26 years old and living the American dream. I was a CPA and my whole master plan was going well. I was going to have financial success in a few years. But deep down inside me, I had this calling to do something different. Like I wanted to help people, but I really couldn't figure out what it was. So I kind of ignored it. Well, as the months went by, this calling got stronger and stronger and stronger. So I decided to do something a little different. I decided to say this little itty-bitty prayer up in my room. God, please help me. I want to do something worthwhile for my life. Whammo! 8 months later, I'm sitting in Lehigh Hospital thinking I'm getting new prescription glasses. The neuro-ophthalmologist comes in and he says, Steve, he goes, you have a very rare genetic eye disease called Leber's optical neuropathy. The history of this disease is that you will completely lose your center vision. You will have very little peripheral vision and your optic nerve is just about totally destroyed. I'm sorry. I don't want to believe him. But next 4 or 5 weeks later, everything he said was true. I couldn't drive, I couldn't read, and I was afraid to go outside. I had lost my job, I filed for disability, my career was over, and worst of all, I lost my independence. I remember sitting back at my parents' house saying, what the hell just happened? Within 6 weeks. I felt an incredible sense of loss, hopelessness, and regret. The last 26 years of my life just seemed to be over. Now Satan, he's a little devil. He's a very opportunistic little guy. He likes to get in your ear. Every single day I heard him tell me, Steve, your life is useless. You are nobody. Your life is over, Steve. It was hard not to believe him, but we believe in God. So I decided to find out what happened to me. So I prayed to God. I asked him, what happened? So in my prayers, I remember that little itty-bitty prayer I said months ago. I said, whoa, God, is this how you answer prayers? I learned very quickly, if you're going to pray, be careful. God takes things very, very literally. Now, God's got a wicked sense of humor. When I was legally blind, I remember going to bars with my friends. I had to use the men's room. So I walk into the bathroom, I look around, I say to myself, why is everybody sitting down? Why does guys spend so much time looking in the mirror? Well, after being pelted by a couple lipstick containers and some screams, I knew it was the wrong location. Boy, that was humiliating, let me tell you. A couple years later, I coached a baseball team. It was the last practice of the season. I was unscathed on the entire season. A right-handed batter came up, and I said, you know what, to try to see him, I'm going to stand behind him, behind the cage, stick my head around, try to see him. Foul balls never go backwards. They always go to this way or that way in a right-handed hitter. Not this foul ball, went straight back, hit me right between the eyes. I swear, people said it was thunder. I swear I heard a guy laughing above. Certainly has a wicked sense of humor. Now, being visually impaired and meeting women, that's a little different take than most people. I remember going up to a girl in the bar and I would say, hi, my name is Steve. What's your name? Nice to meet you. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to touch you there. So it was very difficult. And getting a girl's phone, if I was fortunate enough to get a girl's phone number, it kind of went like this. I would say, hey, how are you? Listen, I'd really like to take you out, but I have one small problem, I don't drive. Well, why don't you drive? Well, I'm legally blind. Click. Conversation over. I really couldn't blame them. You see, I was in my late 20s, early 30s, going back to physical therapy school, unemployed and disabled. Not exactly somebody's knight in shining armor, you know? But I met my beautiful wife, Cindy, and she accepted me from who I was, not who I was not. So we got married, believe it or not, on All Saints Day. Now, one day she's driving down the road, and I say to her, is that a stop sign to the right? And she says, yes, it is. A few weeks later, which she's driving down, I said, is that a traffic light, and is that light red? And she goes, yeah, you can see that? I said, yeah. A few weeks later, I'm in bed, I wake up in the morning, sit at the edge of the bed, open my eyes. I said, oh my God. I run downstairs as quickly as I can and grab the newspaper and open up, and I can see the headlines. I couldn't see the bold print in the headlines for 8 years. I can not only see the headlines, but I can see the small print. I can actually read the article. I yelled up, Cindy, wake up, I want to drive. She got in the car, she sat in the back seat, put both seatbelts on. She looked like she was in a straitjacket. And I just started to drive down the road. Now, I was driving like a kid who just started to learn how to drive. I was swerving on the road. Believe it or not, a police officer pulls me over. And he said, and I rolled out the window, I'm sorry, officer, I just got my sight back. Believe it or not, he never said, let me see your license, registration, or get out of the car. I said to myself, is he legally blind too? I went back to the neuro-ophthalmologist 8 years after I lost my sight. Believe it or not, the same guy. He gives me examination. He starts shaking his head. He goes, I don't understand it. He goes, your optic nerve is over 90% dead. How you can see, I don't know. I can't explain it. Well, I can explain it though. So, I will tell you a little bit of advice. If you think your life is not working out the way it is, or should be, or not the way you planned, or you have any sense of no hope, please, I beg of you, do 3 things. Pray to God, number 1. Number 2, have faith that He hears every single prayer. And number 3, never ever give up. Because I promise you, if you do those 3 things, you too would do something unbelievable.